Hey mom, hey dad, if you have a high school teen or if your child's even younger, try this project out this summer. Your children are going to learn so much from it. Back in the 1980s, the summer of my 15th birthday, if I took a portion of the money I earned, $250, and invested it in Microsoft stock, do you know what that investment would be worth today, 30 years later? Now, to put it into perspective, if I invested that same $250 instead in the S&P 500, that would be worth over $6,000 today. What do you think that investment grew to with Microsoft? Drop a comment down below. Let me know honestly the first number that popped into your mind. But do you know that that would have grown to over $500,000? Now instead, I actually bought Toys R Us stock, and luckily I sold it because, as we all know, Toys R Us ended up going bankrupt, right? But back then it was a good investment. I share this with you because in school, we focus in these high school years more on algebra and calculus and trigonometry and not enough on basic finances, which is essential for all of our children to learn. Yes, maybe they've spent a semester on it or even a week or two on it, but ask your child if they understand what inflation is. If they're in high school, they should understand it, and if they don't, this is my point. Now listen, here's a great way to teach your child about inflation. If grandma and grandpa in 2004, let's say they were born that year, put away $250 for your child because they wanted them on their 15th birthday for the entire year, once a week, to go to the movies on grandma and grandpa and to always think of grandma and grandpa. Well, back then, $250 would pay for almost an entire year of movies because the price of a ticket was just under $5. But as we know today, what? The price of a ticket is much more than that, right? Inflation. Ice cream costs 3 times more today than it did in 2004. It's a great way to show your children about inflation. Now, if grandma and grandpa had the hindsight to instead stick that money into the S&P 500, it would be worth over $800 today. Now, if grandma and grandpa were even more aggressive and they said, let's buy Disney stock, and they invested $250 in Disney, well, that $250 today would be worth over $1,400. But if they had the crystal ball to invest in Amazon stock, do you know how much it would be worth? Over $12,000 today. Incredible, right? So here's the project to try with your child this summer. Take whatever amount you want to invest and open up a Robinhood trading account with your child. Robinhood, by the way, is free to open up and it's free to buy and sell stocks. So it's a fun way to experiment with your child. And they can buy one share, they can buy fractional shares with Robinhood. And what you should do is, let's say you want to invest $100 or even $50. Each of you take $25 or each of you take $50 and have a fun family competition against each other and see who can pick the best performing stock based on your research. Obviously, as we know, the market's been fluctuating a lot, so one of you might get an excellent buy. But here's what it's going to do more importantly. It's going to create great conversation around the dinner table and healthy competition, right? But it's going to teach our children really about investing money into the market. Yes, we can also invest in real estate. We can invest in the stock market. There are several different ways, but what our children also need to know is that when we put money into the bank short term, it might make sense. But when we stick $1 into the bank today and go to pull that dollar out in 10 years, that dollar is worth much less. Why? Inflation. The price of sneakers have almost 3x'd since 2004. And yes, children want some more fancier brands today than they did back then, but understand inflation. Teach our children that. Teach our children investing. It is so important. We spend a portion of week 10 inside of our program called Go Be the One on this, and we teach children the importance of finding a mentor. And I believe finding a mentor around finances is important for all of us to learn from on a regular basis. If you want to learn more about our program for high school teens, it's over at helpateen.com. Program is, again, Go Be the One. And I believe it's your time as a family to go be the one and start learning about finances together as a family. You won't regret this. Go be the one.